Ladies and gentlemen, fight fans all around the world from the sunny Caribbean, you are watching What You Need. I haven't made a Roy Jones video yet. Y'all must have forgot. Yes, sir. I want to say so much things about Roy Jones Jr., but instead, what I'm going to do is use this opportunity to talk a little bit and to educate a little bit on the difference between God gifting, talent, and skills. God gifting, talent, and skills. You know, you hear people say, oh, that was a real talented boxer. Or sometimes you hear people say, he's real talented. You know, I heard Floyd Mayweather say once, he said, there's a difference between being talented and God gifted. Let me say that again. There's a difference between being talented and God gifted. I got one more thing for you guys. A lot of people mix up talent with being skilled. A lot of people mix up talent with being skilled. Trust me, there's a huge difference between talent and skills. So let me take this little session out here to give you the differences between each of them. Now in this clip here, the great, and I bow down, when it comes to boxing, the great Roy Jones Jr. Now people say he's a better boxer than Floyd Mayweather Jr. And I don't agree, but I'm going to be able to explain very clearly what he is and how in certain respects he is greater than Floyd Mayweather. First of all, when it comes to talent, Roy Jones Jr. is a much more talented boxer than Floyd Mayweather Jr. I'm going to say it again. When it comes to talent, Roy Jones Jr. is a more talented boxer than Floyd Mayweather Jr. Now let's talk about what talent is. Talent is a natural tendency of a person to excel and do well to a certain degree in a particular thing. We say that a girl who sings, she's never gotten any formal training, but she can sing like a lark. We say she's very talented. She's very talented. Okay? Now, talent, therefore, is the natural tendency of a person to excel in a particular thing. Now, it's different to God gifting. God gifting is certain things that you are just born with. Like you may be born with an ear for music. You can hear things and you were just born that way. You was just wired that way, genetically. Quick twitch muscles and quick reflexes and speed. Some people are born with that. It's genetically in their family. That's God gifting. But talent is when you are good at something. You find out that, hey, I'm just naturally good at doing this. I'm naturally good at fighting. I just have that natural instinct to fight. Like here, Roy Jones Jr., you can tell he's talented at it. He did not have any formal training in certain areas of boxing. Some of the things you see is actually his talent because he's observed animals and patterned his style after animals. He said he would look at chickens fight. He said he would look at the badger fight the snake. And he would pattern himself after watching them fight, animals fight. And if you really look at Roy Jones Jr.'s style of fighting, there is no formal training to certain aspects of his style. He has some formal training, don't get me wrong. He has some of the rudiments of boxing. But a lot of it is based on his talent and based on his athletic ability. And part of his athletic ability is his fast twitch muscles and his quick reflexes, which is his God gifting. All right? So when people say Roy Jones Jr. is more talented than Floyd Mayweather Jr., they are absolutely, inexplicably correct. Where they're wrong is when they say that Roy Jones Jr. was more athletic than Floyd Mayweather, and that he was faster and quicker than Floyd Mayweather Jr. That I disagree with. But for his weight class, Roy Jones Jr. was explicably quick and fast. Okay? All right. So now let's get into the other aspect. We talked about talent. We talked about God gifting. Let's talk about skills. For skills, I like to go straight to Floyd Mayweather Jr. See, what Floyd Mayweather Jr. is doing right here is something he has learned in the school of boxing. This is something that has been rehearsed. And what he just did there was called a pull counter roll under, a hook. This is something taught in boxing. He has adapted his own style and his own way of doing it, but he has learned this. In other words, he has acquired a skill, and then he honed and refined that skill. Some of the skills boxers see other boxers do, and they imitate it and adapt it to their style of fighting. If you ever listen to the interview on Fight Hype with Roy Jones Jr., Roy Jones Jr. tells you Floyd Mayweather borrowed a check hook or two from him. But Floyd Mayweather Jr. has a particular style. It's called the Michigan style of fighting. So Floyd Mayweather actually fights from a certain school of fighting. Whereas Roy Jones Jr., his style is all his own. His style is not from a school of fighting. He didn't develop his style primarily from acquiring skills. He wasn't taught certain things. Some of the things he does, he just naturally acquired by observation on his own and adapted to his style of fighting. That's why we said Roy Jones Jr. is more talented than Floyd Mayweather Jr. But Floyd Mayweather Jr. is more skilled than Roy Jones Jr. Now, that doesn't mean that some of the things Roy Jones Jr. does are not the same things that Floyd Mayweather Jr. does. And it also does not mean that Roy Jones Jr. doesn't have skill. He has learned certain things in boxing. Okay? And it also doesn't mean that Floyd Mayweather Jr. didn't observe Roy Jones Jr.'s style and take things from his style as well. Okay? Now, both Roy Jones Jr. and Floyd Mayweather Jr., both juniors are very athletic. Just that one used his natural talent more and his instinct for fighting, and the other used a more schooled, rehearsed style. But both are extremely athletic guys. So, by explaining this, I am able to tell you that one, talent is something that you may have observed and find that you have a natural tendency towards doing well. Whereas skills has to do with things that you have been taught and rehearsed, and then you may master and make into your own. And God gifting is something you are born with. It is genetic, it is innate, it is inherent in your makeup. It is something God has given you and blessed you with. One of those things that is just the way Floyd Mayweather is his ability to adapt to things very quickly. That is a God gifting. Yes, he had to have the skills and all the repertoire as well as his own talent itself to allow him to be able to adapt to something. But that's a God gifting he has. It's not a talent. It's not a skill. He didn't learn to adapt to things. He took whatever he knew and was able to adapt. He's just naturally that way. He adapts. And that's something that separates this man from all the other boxers of all other eras, because he can adapt instantaneously and make changes. You must understand that's God gifting. Now this man, he was very unorthodox in how he went about doing things. And that's part of his nature, to be unorthodox, to go against the grain. And that's part of his God gifting. Now, I wanted to say all of this so you would understand and appreciate both fighters, because unfortunately, both these fighters came up in an era with a commentator named Larry Merchant. If they came up in the era of Howard Cosell, there would be raining of praises upon these guys daily. They would be known as greater than life legends, probably even greater than the great Muhammad Ali himself, because of the fantastic things these men did that no one has ever seen in the ring before their time. Roy came before Floyd Mayweather Jr., was the pound for pound king of the world. No one thought he was beatable. He was seen as unbeatable at the time. And Floyd copied some of the things of Roy and came up emulating some of his style as he came up. But unfortunately for Floyd and Roy, Larry Merchant could only say negative things about these people. Unfortunately, they came up in the era of HBO, not on primetime TV, where the whole world could see them and commentators would praise them non-stop for the incredible things they did. Instead, we had Larry Merchant, and because of him, people say Roy never fought anybody, even though that is not fact at all, because he beat Bernard Hopkins. He beat James Toney. And then he went up in weight class and fought Mike McCallum. Yes, an old Mike McCallum, but he beat him. Went on to beat Virgil Hill at light heavyweight. And I could go on and on about the names Roy Jones Jr. has fought and beat. So it's not true at all. And the man is a legend. Yes, he fought some B-level, C-level, and D-level fighters, like this guy right here who's a southpaw. But the truth of the matter is, this guy has fought some great names. And people said that Roy was overhyped. But no, the man deserves what he's getting. Now, other people said that Floyd wasn't as good as Roy because Roy was hardly touched. Again, unfortunately, there's an overcompensation on the other end of the hype, where people didn't realize Roy Jones Jr., though unorthodox, was actually an outboxer or an outside fighter like Muhammad Ali. He didn't fight on the inside, whereas Floyd Mayweather could fight in any terrain. He could fight mid-range, inside, and outside. But one thing I can tell you about both fighters, and why I think of them as brothers in the style, the beautiful art of pot shotting, is because both were great pot shotters. But Roy was a terrific offensive finisher, like the great Muhammad Ali, like the great Sugar Ray Leonard. Once he got you hurt with that left hook, he was going to finish you with a flurry. But both Roy and Floyd were pot shot artists.